Welcome back to the Hoodoo and Chill podcast. It is me, Papa Seer, host, narrator, and storyteller of the #1 Hoodoo and spirituality-based podcast, the Hoodoo and Chill podcast. Today's episode is fortune telling with playing cards the Hoodoo way. I usually, every time around this year, close to the fall, I open up my Cardomancy Academy, which is usually a 4 to 6 week academy where I teach students how to tell fortunes, enact the art of divination using a simple deck of playing cards. For those of you who do not know, I myself am a master cartomancer. Before Papa Seer was known as Papa Seer, Hoodoo Guru, YouTube, I always say this. I was just a damn good psychic. That is what I was known for and still known for today for being extremely accurate when it comes to my divination and psychic counsel. And if any of you ever needed any type of spiritual counsel or assistance in your own life, I am always available to you, papaseer.com, or use the link in the description. If you have never had a session with me, please use the new client special, divination or fortune telling with playing cards. It is one of my go-to styles, and I love it. It's practical, it's easy, it's accessible. It is extremely connected to our ancestors. Fortune telling, oftentimes, because the response is so practical, the question is so practical, the answer that you receive most of the time is immediately understood. It resonates. And this is why a lot of people spend a lot of time with good fortune tellers and invest in it because, again, like I said, it is good for what it's for. So on today's episode, we are going to have some fun. And if you want to read more up about the difference between divination and fortune telling, I implore you pick up my book, The Intimacy of Cartomancy. It's available on Amazon as well as hcrgold.com. We are going to talk about this. How are these cards used? And I guarantee you by the end of today's podcast, you yourself will be able to perform a reading using those cards. So if you want to go grab your deck of playing cards and just, I don't know, hold them, shuffle them, move along with me as I teach today, go for it. If not, listen, you can always run this podcast back at a later time. I also have additional resources for you all too on YouTube. I just dropped a 3-part video on divination with playing cards. To do a quick backtrack on the history of this divination system and how it even got into the hands of Black people, we are going to start in Europe. The playing cards were popularized by the Romani people. They are the forebearers, they are the ancestors of origin who truly popularized divination and fortune telling with the playing card deck. It spread across Europe and ended up in England. We are going to focus on England today. When this system got in the hands of the English, they embraced it as well. The English loved their card games, and they also loved fortune telling with them as well. So much that they even created their own system of doing it, the English method or the English 52 method. Now, that's important because, as we know, the English, Spanish, and the French colonized America. And the English specifically colonized what is considered Chesapeake, the Virginia, Carolinas, and Georgia. This was their territory as to where they colonized in the Americas. With that being said, this got into the hands of Black Americans because they were working alongside English, Scottish, Irish servants who also themselves were either indentured servants, and some of them were also slaves as well. And these people came into the Americas with their own systems, cunning folk that come out of Virginia, the Pellers that come from England, and just they had their own traditions. And what happens is when you have two different groups of people who are working parallel and living parallel to one another, idealisms and customs are exchanged. So my theory is that this got into the hands of Black people just from their adjacency to the English, the Scottish, and the Irish. Of course, when we get something into our hands, we change it, we add things to the recipe, and the entire energy of it literally metamorphosizes into something that becomes unapologetically Black. When you do your research on hoodoo history and culture, the divination and fortune telling tactics that you are going to run into almost always involve some form of playing cards. So outside of New Orleans, the tarot cards were not used. They didn't even exist in the hoodoo system. This is something that we as modern practitioners, not myself, but you all that use tarot cards have began implementing into this system. And I think that's great. Do you? Now, Black people embraced this system because of its practicality and how the symbolism mimicked things that they were going through in everyday life. So, for instance, the suit of the hearts, which is probably the most beloved suit, this is the suit that often offers the most benevolent messages. They are the Hearts family is a loving family. They are the social good guys of the Cardomancy system. So anytime when you pull Hearts, it often talks about love and relationships and fertility and babies and families and friends and just anything that has to do with your social networking. Okay. And I'm not talking about TikTok, but well, you know what? In the modern age, the hearts could represent relationships on TikTok or anything online. So I'm not going to say that. Whatever your relationships are, the hearts tend to speak on that. And that's easy. That's understood. That is practical. Then we move over to the clubs, which are a suit of movement, force. And this often represents money, business, your job, the things that you have to do every day to bring home the bacon. It is a family that hovers around the energy of enterprise and getting things done. And so, again, that is something that's easy and understood. And if you look at the club, it almost looks like a crop too. All right. Just hint, hint. All right. It kind of resembles a tobacco leaf, sort of. And you move on to the diamonds, which talk about property and wealth and money, opportunities, and things that are tangible that you can see, feel, and touch that are in your hand. So it's not simply just isolated to money, but your house, your car, all of those things that revolve around some form of wealth or material possessions. Again, easily understood. And then last but not least, the spades, which are the most misunderstood suit of the deck because people automatically arbitrate this to just, bad things happening or negative energy. But it's really beyond that. The spades are actually the most complex and most necessary suit in the cartomancy system, in my opinion, because the spades do represent those challenges in life. Traditionally, Black people would look at spades more so as omens and warnings, not necessarily, oh, this is so bad, but just something that you have to be extremely cautious about. In my classroom, I refer to this more so as spiritual reflection. So, again, it's needed. Even without the elaborate pictures, the symbols still represented something that was easily understood. And that is one thing I think why we love tarot, because of the artwork and the potentiality and the artwork, of the tarot deck. But at the same time, I want you to think about hiding things and how important it was for Black Americans, especially as it related to traditional spiritual anything, ATRs, hoodooism. It had to be hidden. And so a deck of playing cards, which you would have seen in almost everyone's household, parlor games, and people really just enjoyed and embraced this pastime, you are not going to automatically associate those cards with something like spirituality or playing fortunes. The average human being, their mind is going to go to, oh, that's for a card game. So it was easy to hide other intentions behind the cards. Here's another thing, too, why I think playing cards are so versatile. They don't cost that much, and then because they don't have all of those pictures on them, the traditional decks, they're, mostly the background is white and it just has the symbols. You can write on these cards, which is what we find a lot of people doing today, writing on the cards, drawing on them, creating their own systems. And there's nothing wrong with that. But I will tell you that that's one of the reasons why it's hard to find definitive information on cartomancy, because so many people are teaching it from what they've created instead of actually taking the time to learn the traditional system. I myself have mastered the traditional system. So even with that being said, you can write the meanings of the traditional system on your deck of playing cards. And I implore you to do so once you learn what those meanings represent, once you learn what those cards represent. Again, this is the best opportunity for you to pick up my book, The Intimacy of Cartomancy, because I explain every last one of those cards in detail in that book. And also give you keywords and phrases that you can use to write on your cards if that's what you choose to do. Another detail of this deck, and my belief, this is another reason why it was so embraced by our people, is that there are only two colors on the traditional deck, red and black. And each one of those colors actually represents something. So the red is or are the cards of movement, life. I want you to think about the flow of blood through the body. Red is passionate. Red is force. Red is active. Red is the things that might be going on in the daytime. Red is your relationships, your social interactions. Red is your family. Red is your children. Red is your job. Red is all of those things that even go on the physical. Okay. So all of the red cards typically represent a lot of things that are going on the physical. The black cards are a bit different. The black represents what is inside, what is hidden, what is unseen, things that are typically contemplative. You need to sit with that. It requires some type of thought, some type of goal setting, some type of planning. It can represent things that are going on the physical that require additional assistance from the ethereal. So the black cards are a moment for you to sit back and ponder. These are messages that we perceive to be from the spirit realm. But then in a more practical sense, black can also represent challenges. It can also represent, black blockages in your path, things not necessarily going so well, or it could also represent just a stop to things as well. So what you are learning right now about cartomancy is that while on the surface it is very practical and it's seemingly kind of easy to do on the surface, I want you to know something. It is an extremely complex system. There are so many different ways that these cards fall. And cartomancy is truly all about variations, understanding, and learning how these cards fall, and there are many different variations. And that just comes with time and exposure to the deck and just truly understanding each card as its own standalone energy as well, and then how that energy might change once other cards are introduced to it. Okay. So before you learn all of the cards, and I think that is where most people hindered themselves in this system. They jump out there and they just want to learn all of the cards. They sit down and just try to study and just learn all of them. It's not going to come that way. You know, you're going to learn those cards gradually over time. The more you see them, the more you are exposed to them, you will just learn them over time. However, I think one of the easiest ways to get exposed to the deck and just getting comfortable with doing fortune telling with this particular deck, because it's different than a tarot deck. And for those of you that are coming from tarot over to this tends to be a bit more difficult for you. For those of you that have never done any type of divination or fortune telling with playing cards, this is going to connect for you a lot easier. And I'm not saying that to my tarot people to scare you or anything. I'm just giving it to you from years of experience and having teaching this to so many different people, that people who come into this with this love and I know tarot, they struggle with cardomancy in the beginning because it's going to strip you from everything that's been anchoring your gifts with tarot. The pictures, having so many different cards, the size of those cards, the major arcana in that aspect, it strips you from a lot of those things that have anchored your gift, and you have to step into something new. And what I notice is that when you remove those pictures from a lot of people, it's just like the divination deck goes foreign. So what those pictures have been doing for a lot of you is you're reading intuitively. You're not actually reading based upon what the system means. You're reading based upon what the picture means to you. And cartomancy is 100% different because there are no pictures except on my deck. My deck, the one that I created, has pictures and what the cards represent, but it's still on a traditional layout. It's still red and black, you know? So again, a traditional deck strips you of that. And I think that's a great way to kind of learn too. I mean, it's challenging in the beginning, but I think that, you know, it's an amazing system because it does offer you great insight. So what I want to do today is teach you all how to do a reading with what we've learned thus far. Yeah, I'm going to teach you how to do a reading with literally just the red and the black cards and just focusing on the suits and nothing else. So, what I'm going to do is I'm going to grab my cards and you can grab yours, and we'll do a mock reading together and I'll show you how this is done. All right, so I've got my cards out and I'm shuffling. And we're going to create a mock scenario, something that we create. So the person, the inquirer that's coming to you, her name is Lisa. And Lisa has recently started dating Paul. She likes Paul. She's been enjoying her time with Paul. She's even thinking about, you know, taking it serious with Paul. So Lisa has come to you, and you should be shuffling. Lisa is coming to you because she wants to know if she were to take it serious with Paul, how could this potentially go? Now stop shuffling. All right. Now let's cut that deck one time. Now place your hands on that deck. I want you to just meditate on what Lisa just said to you. If you want to say a quick little prayer to your spirit guide or to divine spirit right now, you can. Now, I want you to flip over the first three cards, and we're going to go from left to right. So I'm going to flip over my card. I have a 6 of diamonds, my first card. Oh, my next card is a 3 of hearts. And then I'm going to pull my last one. Oh, There is a 10 of clubs. So I have this 6 of diamonds here, right? And you're going to read this as a progression from start to finish, how things are going to start, and that last card should be inevitably how they're going to end up. Okay, so for you all that are beginners, I always want you to use 3 cards. I think a 3 card or a 1 card spread is the best way to start learning without overwhelming yourself. So we're only going to use 3 cards. Okay, and you can use this 2 ways: past, present, or future, or a progression or a timeline of events of how things are going to go. Really, it just depends upon what is being asked upon you, how you are going to read those cards. She's asking me how is this relationship is going to go. So I'm not going to read this past, present, future. I'm going to read this as a progression, a series of events. So my first card is a 6 of diamonds. And even though I haven't told you all what the 6 of diamonds means, I'm going to read this entire reading, do this based upon just the suit and the color. I'm not focusing on the number at all. So this red diamond just illustrates that these two are spending time together. They're enjoying each other's company. Someone is being extremely generous too. And I'm assuming that is probably Paul, because she's the one that's coming to get this reading about, taking it a step further and just wanting to be serious. And whatever her version of serious is, it must be something very serious, because she's coming to get a reading about it. She isn't just thinking about making this man just simply her boyfriend. So what I already know about their relationship is that they're dating, they're going out, they're doing things. Somebody's spending money, time, and just doing all of the things. And she feels very secure right now with this man. Now, next to this card is a red heart. Okay. That is a great sign that the feelings are mutual, that you two are passionate for each other, that you two are actually hot and heavy for each other, that this is not, a fling. These are two people who genuinely either love or truly care about one another. And there is massive potential here for them to grow and be something. There is a black club at the end of the road. What this looks like to the untrained eye is that everything is going to be fine, and then you two are going to run into some problems. And the underlearned, or the person who doesn't understand this system, is going to say, yeah, I wouldn't, because everything is going to be good and then something bad is going to happen. And, that is not the way you want to read this at all. That's not really looking into the layers or having any intimacy with this system. This is a black club. This is not a black spade. What this means is that, yeah, they probably are going to run into some issues later, but what would those issues be? 9 times out of 10, this man probably works a lot. He probably owns a business, or he has a demanding job. And all of this time and attention that you're getting right now, you might have to sacrifice some of that in the future if you want to continue living this lifestyle with Paul. Paul obviously has to work hard. He has things going on. And, I'm not telling you not to be with Paul. What I'm telling you is that his time may not always be where you want it to be. And that's something that you are going to have to accept if this is a person that you want to be with, or this is something that you two are going to have to find some type of balance in. It may not be Paul. She could be the breadwinner, honestly, and it could just be her. She might have plans in the future of something that she wants to do, a job promotion. Anything could come up that is going to throw some form of challenges in the relationship, and you all just need to be prepared for that. This also could be work causing some form of separation. Someone might have to go out of town, someone might have to move, a lot of different things. At this point, when you say this, she's gonna start opening up and telling you exactly what it is because you would have been right. Trust me on this one. So, this is a very simple, straightforward, anyone with the right intention and study and practice can do this method of using playing cards. You don't even have to know what each and every card means. If you can understand what the suits represent and really embrace the intimacy of what those two colors represent and the potentiality of it in each system, you actually will be very, very successful in reading this way. Now, this is only a snippet of what cartomancy can do for you. What I've shown you today is definitely fun and useful for yourself or for other people, or if you just want to do some fun parlor tricks or just have some fun with it. I think what I've shown you is great for that. But if you yourself want to take this a more serious and become a professional, if you seek mastery of this system, then I implore you to pick up my book or go on the website hcrgold.com and pick up the bundle. The deck in the book will explain the system and the cards to you in detail. Also, in December, I am hosting a 4-week Cardomancy Academy. Now is the time to register and sign up. Those of you that register and sign up, you will get a copy of the deck and the book sent to you as well, so you do not have to do a double purchase, okay? All you need to do is sign up for the academy, where you will have an opportunity to meet with me once a week for 4 weeks, and we will have mock readings. I will teach you this system in detail, in full, and it's a much more thorough experience. I think this is just something to kind of get your feet wet. This is something you can start doing right now. You literally can get off this podcast, go get you a pack of playing cards, and start practicing today up until the time I see you for the academy in December. It's going to be amazing. All of the classes will be recorded so that you will have access to unlimited replays as well as resources that I will be giving you. And also, you'll have some time to do some one-on-one and also group training with me and the other students. Last but not least, those of you who complete this 4-week workshop and course with me will receive an official certification certificate. This is something that you can hang on your wall, display in your office. Those of you that work those of you that work with clients can display this on your wall to let people know that you have been officially trained in this art. You know what you're doing. You're not just making this up. You took the time to invest in your learning so that you could be the best that you could be for someone else who is coming to you for guidance. I have also posted in the description of this podcast additional resources for you as well. So please take a look at those. Family, friends, listeners, and supporters, I just want to say thank you so much for listening to me today. This was amazing, and I hope that I was able to break the ice and demystify some of the misconceptions or curiosities that you've had about fortune telling with playing cards, divination, and everything else that we've covered in today's podcast episode. Again, if you yourself are seeking additional resources, training, and studies, I look forward to seeing you in Papa Seer's Cardomancy Academy in December. Again, you can sign up on hcr.gold. Again, you can sign up on hcrgold.com, and all links are posted in the podcast description. I just want to bless your hands, your feet, your coming, your going, family. I just send you out in love, light, peace, prosperity, most importantly, protection. May the things you touch materialize as if they were gold right in front of your face, my people. And with that, I release you into the atmosphere.